So usually I film my videos using my phone, but literally every single time I try to film something, like when I filmed the video yesterday for In Your Eyes, you can actually tell partway through I had to stop it because it ran out of space and I had to upload that video and start again. I don't know why I keep running out of space on there. Like, I deleted all pictures and videos and it still only films like 4 minutes and says I'm out of space. And it even yelled at me earlier today saying I'm out of space, even though I didn't take any pictures or film anything. So I was like, I don't know how this works. I'm not a technology genius, but I will figure that out. So right now we have to deal with Potato Cam. It's cool. It kind of feels like retro, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I always liked photo booth. Today I decided that I thought it would be cool to go through some of my favorite movies. So this is like if somebody were to ask me, what's your favorite movie? Or if I was doing like a survey online, which I used to do a lot, and it was like favorite movie, there would always be like that kind of go-to answer. So I'm going to talk about some of those. I happen to own them all, of course. So I will be pulling them out. So I'm going to start way back when I was a little kid. When people asked me what my favorite movie was when I was very young, like elementary school young, probably early elementary school, I would always say Fox and the Hound. So at this point, I don't remember why I always said Fox and the Hound was my favorite movie, because when I think back, the movies that I actually watched way more than that were Matilda, Lion King 2, not the first one, I love the second one, and All Dogs Go to Heaven. I watched these movies so many times, like I would watch them over and over and over again, these exact fucking VHS. But I don't remember watching Fox and the Hound a ton, but I remember always like that was my go-to answer. It wasn't any of those, it was Fox and the Hound. I don't know why. I guess I just thought it was cute or something. I really couldn't explain it to you, so that was pretty mysterious. So when I think back, I would say like my favorite movies were really the other three, but I always said Fox and the Hound. I don't know why. But that all changed when in 2003 a movie was released and I watched it on video on demand, and that movie was 13, which I watched when I was 12, or I guess 11? 2003? But I remember, I think I might have, maybe I watched it early 2004, because I remember being 12 and thinking, I turn 13 like next year, and this was like the craziest movie to watch, and of course, being that edgy preteen, I was like, this is so cool, and those girls are so cool, and I like wanted to be Evie, but no, I was never Evie. I never did any of that stuff. I never even drank alcohol or did anything until I was past 18. So I never actually did any of that stuff as a kid, but God was I obsessed with this movie. I watched this movie so many times. I could quote it. I was just so obsessed. I did so much cringy stuff. Like almost go into like an Evie headspace and act like really edgy and moody and just feel like I would just like act like her. But I never, like, actually did any of the stuff that they do or, like, dressed like them or anything like that. So, I don't know. It was just all in my mind, and I guess I felt like I couldn't really do it in real life. But yeah, this was a big one. It was also the first DVD I ever owned, is this one. I think someone got it for me for my birthday one year. I think maybe when I was 16. So, this was my favorite movie for years. So, I guess from 2003 until, or 2004, I don't even know, until 2008, because in 2008 I watched A Clockwork Orange, and if this just shows how much of a fucking edgelord I am. Like, my favorite movies are so dark. This changed everything for me. When I first saw this, I remember I didn't even realize how long it was. Just like, by the end of the movie, I was just like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I like immediately went to school and was telling my friends. And in the first week that I saw this movie, I watched it 3 times in 1 week, because I watched it, I think, twice by myself, and then once I had to show a friend. And after that, I like kept watching it even more and showing everybody. And I remember one time, I think it might have been like the 4th time, and it was like soon after that first week. It was like the 2nd week or something. And I was hanging out with some friends and like quoting along with the movie, like doing the lines along with the movie. And one of the guys in the room was just like, how many times have you seen this? And I was like, 3 times before now. And they're like, and I was like, yeah, like in the last week. I was just so obsessed with it. And another really funny thing was, so that was in grade 12, and in my English class at the end of the year, there was like not a whole lot of people in class because it was like the last class. And there might have been 6 or 7 kids that actually showed up. And I had this DVD with me because I actually had it out from the library, and that was how I was watching it. And I had to return it. So I had it in my bag, and since it was like the last day and the teacher was like, oh, we're not really doing anything anyway, I was like, can we watch this? And she fucking let me put this on, which is like so crazy. I can't believe she was just like, yeah, sure. Like, she just didn't even question it. Wasn't like, that isn't appropriate. Like, nothing. She was just like, cool, yeah, let's do that. I was just, wow, thank you to that teacher. She was pretty cool. Oh, and then, so that year in grade 12, I dressed as Alex for Halloween. That was super fun. I don't have any pictures of it, which is really unfortunate, but I dressed like him again in 2013, and I was like, I'm gonna do a better job this time, because I really had limited resources as a 17-year-old, and really couldn't, obviously I didn't have, like, the cod piece, because I'm like, I don't know how to make that, and I don't need one. So I just did, like, I had, like, these, like, light, like, very light blue jeans that I wore, and we got just, like, some cheap white button-up, and we went to, like, the dollar store, because it was Halloween, and bought, eyeballs to put on the wrist, and we couldn't find a black bowler hat. We found a red one, so we spray painted it black. Oh my god. Yeah, and I think, like, the cane that I used was like a broom handle or something. Like, it was just so DIY. Like, it was so incredibly DIY. But my social teacher was into it and called me Alex during class, so that was really cool. I remember just wishing that I had a glass of milk with me, because that would have been the best. And I also didn't have the book with me, but a classmate had the book, and I remember being like, oh my god, so I had, like, the book on my desk and stuff, so that was cool. Clockwork Orange is a weird one to bring up when I talk about my favorite movies to people, because a lot of people are like, oh, I couldn't watch it, I couldn't stomach it, or how could you like that movie so much? And it's very odd to think back to when I first saw it. Like, my reaction wasn't at all, like, horrified or disturbed or anything like that. Like, I just thought it was fun, I guess. That it was just so magical to me to watch this. Like, I guess up until that point, I don't think I'd really seen anything that could maybe be regarded as, like, true cinema. I don't even think I'd seen it. That might have been the first Kubrick movie that I'd ever seen. Oh no, I think I watched Lolita before that, but I remember I didn't really like it. I thought it was kind of boring, and I liked the 1997 one better. Yeah, like, I think it was just, like, I was just so in awe with how it was presented, and I loved the language, I loved how everything looked, how, like, outrageous everything is, how, like, it's kind of funny, like, the prison guard is just so funny, like, I'm just, like, thinking about it, like, the shut your bleeding hole part is really funny, and, like, when when he goes back to the writer's house, and he's like, I just feel like at any moment something terrible is going to happen to me. Face in the spaghetti. Like, it's just so funny. Like, all that stuff is way above, like, oh, there's, like, a sort of rape scene at the beginning, and, like, yeah, that's definitely fucked up. But the rest of the movie is so fascinating to me, and being older now, and, like, having read the book, I think I read it twice? I haven't read it for a long time, and I should. And kind of, like, understanding what Anthony Burgess was trying to say with it, and, like, he wasn't trying to, like, make us love Alex or think he's a great person or anything like that. Like, it was really more of a commentary on free choice and, like, the state's control over people, and, like, how much control can you really have over a person? Is it right to, like, hypnotize a person into not being violent? Because, I mean, it's not like in his mind he was changed at all. Like, he still wanted to hit people. He still wanted to rape women. He still loved blood. Like, and it also, like, ruined music for him, which was, like, the most tragic part of it. And my favorite thing, even like way back when I was 17, my favorite thing to tell people was like, well, do you know what Clockwork Orange means? And I would always like quote that part of the book where the writer was actually writing, and they didn't have this in the movie. He was actually writing about Clockwork Orange. It's like how something organic could be made mechanical. And I just love telling people that because I'm like, I bet you didn't know. And yeah, so I just like loved that whole aspect of it. And of course, like Kubrick films are always so like beautiful to look at. I would also like to just put in a little thing of my weekend reaction video yesterday. Oh, I was beating myself up over this. I shouldn't, but I was. There was like one part that I cut out my reaction for it because I didn't say exactly what I was thinking, where like there's a shot where it's like that hallway and it kind of like does that thing where it seems like it's extending, and it's very Kubrickian. If you watch Kubrick movies, you know that he has like that one point perspective, and a lot of the time it's hallways. And when I saw that, all I said out loud was, oh, the hallway. And it just like sounded really dumb, so I didn't keep it in the video, but I was really thinking about Kubrick. Anyway, I wanted to say that because, I don't know, I didn't say that in the other video, so it is really weird to express how much I like Clockwork Orange, like, even to this day, and I mean, I dressed up like him again in 2013, like, it's just, like, so iconic, and yeah, it's like a cult classic, so I'm in the cult, and the book is really good. It's way more than that movie with the rape scene, that movie with the violent guy, like, it's way more than that, and I've always kind of seen that, I guess. Like, I never defined that movie by that rape scene. Like, yeah, using Singing in the Rain, like, I've still never seen Singing in the Rain because I'm not really a huge musical fan. But, like, that, it, like, ruins that song because it's like, oh, well, now when I think of Singing in the Rain, I think of him kicking the writer on the floor and forcing him to watch his wife get raped. Like, it's horrible. And, of course, it's horrible. The whole point of the story is that he's horrible, and that's why they have to fix him. But the fix doesn't actually work. And this is also well-known knowledge that the ending of the book is different than the ending of the movie. There's an extra chapter where Alex grows up and he chooses to be good, and he's like, oh, I was just being like a ridiculous youth, and that's like what everyone was doing. Like, it talks about how this is like a dystopian future, and it's not even far off in the future from when the book was written, which I think 1962, and William S. Burroughs says it's funny, and William S. Burroughs killed someone, so you know you can trust him. No, that's a crazy story though, if you want to look that up. Point is, it's supposed to be set in like the very near future, like I guess it's sort of set in the 70s, like when the movie came out was 71, so it's sort of set in the 70s. It's supposed to be like, this is going to happen soon. But yeah, like the whole world is in disarray. It's like this. The setting is that this kind of violence is going on everywhere. There's gangs everywhere. Like, this is what's happening. And even the homeless man in the movie is like, there's no law and order anymore. So everything's gone to shit. So of course these kids are growing up in this world being like, this is the cool thing to do. And the state is like trying to put a handle on it, but they're doing it in a questionable way. And yeah, and I also love Malcolm McDowell as an actor. I think he's excellent. I also really like If and Oh Lucky Man. Those were really great. Yeah, that's kind of like my explanation as to why I like that movie. I felt like I should really go into it because it is such a controversial movie to like, and for it to be like one of my number ones, I feel like I have to explain myself sometimes. Yeah, so this ended up being my favorite movie for many years, like all throughout like most of my 20s, being like, if someone asked me, I would say my favorite movie was Clockwork Orange. And that didn't change until more recently. I don't know, like, there wasn't really any reason for me to change my mind other than the fact that I just felt like, I've been saying Clockwork Orange is my favorite movie for so long, and I have so many favorite movies now that I feel like picking one is a little bit more tough, and like, I would say like Clockwork Orange is still, it's like up there on the number one playing field. Like, there's many movies, but nowadays if I'm just supposed to pick one or say one, I usually say Almost Famous. And the reason I say Almost Famous is because I feel like this movie just captures so much of what I'm all about, and it just has like such, like, it's my feel-good movie. So if I'm like just feeling bad and want something comforting, like comfort movie, I will watch this because it just makes me feel happy, and it's so sweet and has like such great music and such a nice story. I wish I could just like live inside of this movie. Like, I don't want to live inside Clockwork Orange. maybe I'd live inside 13, but it's pretty traumatic. Maybe Matilda, because I could have special powers. And trust me, when I watched that movie all the time, best believe I was trying to fucking move things with my mind. But no, definitely, if I could live inside any movie, it would be this movie. That would be the best life ever, I think. So yeah, I would usually say that one now, but like a lot of the time, if I have the space, if someone's like, what's your favorite movie? And we're having a conversation, I might be like, lots of movies. So like Almost Famous, Clue, Clockwork Orange. I really like the Bill and Ted series, Enemy, Moulin Rouge. There's so many. I feel like I have to go out and look at my DVDs to really picture these. But yeah, just like there's so many that are just on the top playing field together. They're all tied. So I don't know. There's just so many great movies out there. Recently, I think I've added Harold and Maude because I just recently, like a couple months ago, watched Harold and Maude for the first time. And oh my god, I can't believe I haven't watched that movie before because that movie was incredible. It was so funny. Fuck, that was a good movie. So yeah, like a lot of the time it has to do with like longevity too. Like I saw Almost Famous back when I was saying 13 was my favorite movie, but it took until only like a few years ago when I was like, I think Almost Famous might be my favorite movie. You know, but it's like, can you even say like what is your favorite movie? Like when you love lots of movies, there's so many that you could really talk about. But yeah, so as for like if I had to pick one, Almost Famous takes the cake just because I wish I lived inside of it. I just wish I could just go into my television and live in that little realm of Almost Famous. But yeah, so I love all those. And definitely Clockwork Orange changed my life, 13 changed my life, and now I just want to live my life like Almost Famous, but I can't. That's it. Talk about your favorite movies in the comments if you want. I usually don't engage people because I just always assume that no one's watching these anyway, but I'm going to try to be making more because I'm spending more time at home, obviously. Not a whole lot really going on, just trying to like read and watching lots of movies. So talk about your favorite movies. What do you think about these movies? Have you seen them? Have you not seen them? You should see them. All of them. Even those ones from when I was a kid.